What's going on YouTube? OCD for EDC here, and what I got for your face balls today, we're going to be prepping knives for some mods. So I've had a lot of requests to do more mod videos, so I figured I'd show you guys the process start to finish. And we've got a whole pile of stuff here that we're going to be getting ready to do some mod work on. And I'm just going to show you how I go through this process right from the start. If you hear some strange noises in the background, that's actually my 3D printer running, and yeah, let's just get into it. So first up, we're going to be pulling down a Solaris right here. This thing is in for some mod work. That's a customer knife. I've got a handful of knives that are, some of them are sold, some of them are going up on the website, so got a handful of things here. And then, where's that? There it is. And we also have this one right here. So this is what we're going to start with here today. And we're going to start pulling all this stuff apart. So I'm just going to show you how I do this start to finish. We'll start with the Solaris. Let me get one thing. So get some little cups here to put some hardware and stuff in. I've got my drivers, got a handful, and we're just going to start pulling this apart. So for this one right here, if I remember correctly, the only thing that we're doing to this is an acid wash on the blade. Now, you can see here that this this side of the pivot is not tooled. This side is, and it seemed pretty tight, but okay, never mind. Got it broke loose. Thought we might have to get a little heat involved there, but so I'm holding my finger on the back side because this is a D-shaped pivot, and get that pivot screw out of there. That was a T8, by the way. And let's see if we can just take this apart all from one side, hopefully. So there is some thread locker on all this hardware so far. And yes, so that one is free spinning. So got another T8 here. I guess it'd probably help if I was in frame, huh? Okay. And of course, the screw came out, so the barrel spacers are in, or well, it came out in opposite directions. But, so here we go. Here is the blade on this guy. So you got double row ceramic bearings right there. Let me grab a little microfiber cloth. And we'll just get this cleaned up. Okay. So here's our hardware. Got the spring. Yes, it is a D-shaped pivot. And like I said, a bunch of thread locker. So we'll get that all cleaned out of there, so we can start fresh. You can actually see, I don't know how well you can see that or not, but there's thread locker buildup in every single orifice on this guy. Get the stop pin. We'll just leave that in the back spacer for now, and we'll leave that stuff right where it is. Actually, I'm going to pull this pivot collar out just so we don't lose it. And then we got the pocket clip and the pivot screw. There we go. Okay, so here's our blade. Now for what I'm going to do to this, we're going to want to take the thumb stud out of this. Okay, so the thumb stud is a T8 as well. Hopefully you guys can see this. So we'll start with just seeing if we can break it loose by hand. A lot of time thumb studs are Loctited in quite hard. Yeah, and that one's no different. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I've got my handy dandy soldering iron, and we are going to just fire this thing up. We're going to heat up this pivot, or the thumb stud, and break that thread locker loose. So while this is heating up, doesn't take terribly long. We're just going to go ahead and hold that right like this, just to heat that thumb stud up so we can get that broke loose. I like using a soldering iron. You can really focus the heat exactly where you want it. I know some guys will use things like heat guns, stuff like that. But a heat gun, in my opinion, is just too hard to control the heat and where you want it. You're just, blowing heat all over the place. And with this, I can put heat exactly where I want it. And it doesn't, this little cordless unit from Milwaukee here doesn't get too hot. So you're not going to, damage any finishes or whatever. Like, FRN or G10, well, G10 you're not going to hurt, but FRN you could certainly melt. So I would be careful with, plastics and stuff like that, but otherwise you're not going to hurt anything with a unit like this. So we'll switch over to the other side here, get a little heat on that. And then once this thing comes up to temperature, we'll see if we can get her broke loose. A little bit of heat goes a long, long ways. All right, let's give her a whirl there and see what we're working with. There we go. Got her broke loose. Yeah, and I don't know if you guys can see up in that hole or not. It's just packed full of thread locker. So that's unfortunate, but is what it is. People love to use thread locker. Get out of there. There we go. Okay. So now we got our blade stripped, and you can see actually there's thread locker just shoved in that hole. Yeah, well, it went flying, but yeah, there was just a whole mass of thread locker in there. So, all right, well, we're down to the spot that we want there for that particular knife. And then this one here, so this is the Liang Ma KUF. And on this guy, what we're going to do is remove the Teletubby. So, what we're going to do on this one, the way that we want to do this, I'm going to cut this off and I'm going to make it flush. So you can see here that that's flush with the scales. The blade is on this surface. And I'm going to match that over here. So we'll come up and we'll match the radius. And we'll put the chamfers on either side. But first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to scribe a little line. Just what I have handy here. I've got a little tri-square in my office here and a little scribe tool. And what I'm going to do is scribe a line right where I want it. All right, let's see if we got, it's kind of hard to see, but I think we got a line there. Okay. Now this line, I'm not actually going to cut on that line. I'm going to cut just above that line, and then we'll have to test fit it. So we'll cut it off and then we'll grind down to get it flush right where we want it. We don't want to go too much. We don't want to go too little. You know, we don't want that area sitting proud at all. Okay. Let's see here. Looks like we're going to have to pull the clip screws. I think they go into some standoffs that are through the other side. Yes. Okay. And then this thing has a free spinning pivot. So that's a bummer. I expected a little bit more out of this construction here, honestly. But, you know, not the end of any worlds. It just, free spinning pivots are not my favorite thing ever. At least they did put the pivot screw in the correct way. So you had the threaded side come out of the lock side of the knife. Okay. Perfect. Not a difficult disassembly. Alright, I'm just going to push the pivot out just like that. Okay. Yeah, this thing's filthy. All right. Now, sometimes when you're doing this, yeah, this one's got a detent hole that goes all the way through. So you can see the hole, the detent hole right there, goes all the way through. But sometimes they're a blind hole. It's got a detent ramp as well. But when it's a blind hole, you can have trash and stuff up in that detent hole, which will affect the action of the knife. So, you know, sometimes people think that a knife has got terrible action or a poor detent, when in all reality, there's just dirt stuck in there. So that's something that I see fairly often, actually. With how dirty this knife was. Alright, so let's get these other screws out of here. Okay. Get this thing really cleaned up. There we go. All right. There we go. It's totally disassembled. You can see on the Liang Ma here, we do not have a hardened steel insert. We do have a ceramic ball for a detent ball. Knocking papers down here. All right. So now we'll just set these off to the side. Put my scribe back in the square. Oh yeah, you can see my line. You can see my line I made right there. So that's perfect. That is going to work. Okay. Next up, this is a knife that was on the website, and we actually sold too many of them. And so It was our fault that we didn't keep up on the inventory. It's just, yeah, it was kind of a mess. But anyway, the 8015 light here, I'm going to pull this one apart so we can get it modded up. That is a T6. Where'd my T6 go? There it is. So I think I did a disassembly on the 8015 back when I did a review of this knife. I really like the 8015, but we're going to do some mod work to this guy. And then I'm pretty sure we're T8. No, T10. Yes. Okay. And this is just a simple 2-screw construction. Is that free spinning? It is. We're going to have to get some more heat involved in that guy. But we can get the blade out of here. I think. I'll grab the T6. Oh, maybe not. Still pretty tight. Yeah. Alright, I'm going to get some heat involved and I'll be right back. Alright, so I got that out of there. I had a hell of a time. I had to heat that thing up quite a bit. And, man, I thought that these had a, kind of a D-shaped aspect to them, but maybe I'm wrong. But we're going to find out here in a moment when I get this thing opened up. But I was thinking that the heads of these on the 8015 had, a little cutout that aligned with the scales or something. But like I said, could be wrong. I don't remember. It's been too long since I did one of these. Alright, so we've got phosphor bronze and Teflon washers in here. Alright. And getting that spring out of there. Perfect. Got it out without yeeting it across the room, which is fantastic. Alright. Oh, we got a damaged Teflon washer right there. That's interesting, because this was a brand new knife. Got the pivot out. Oh yeah, they definitely. So there you go. There's the D shape on the pivot. So there's that little shoulder on the pivot, which this one obviously is stripped out. Because yes, it most certainly has the D shape right there. And yeah, it's just stripped out in the FRN scale here on the 8015 Lite. Okay. So, the part that we're concerned about here is the blade, the liners, and the clip. The rest of this, we are going to put inside the package so we don't lose it. And I'm going to have to make a new D shape for that. So this won't be a problem in the future. Alright, so there's that one. Oop, got to get the lanyard tube there. Okay, so now we're going to put that back in the box here. If I can get it to sit correctly. Come on. Good Lord. Okay. All right. Next up, we have the standard 8015. We will pull those thumb studs here in just a moment. But so that was an 8015 light, and here is the standard 8015. This is S35. So we'll get the T6, get these clip screws. So the differences between the light and the standard, sorry, keep doing this off frame. The light and the standard has got S35VN instead of OS10A, and it has G10 scales and different color. It's still aluminum scorpion lock bar, but different color, and of course the green G10 scales. And apparently, no surprise really, I suppose, but the G10 has no issues with everything, or with the D shape, but it's also much thicker. The FRN on the light variant has got it's dished out, so you're not working with the full material thickness where that D shape engages. And then, yep, we still have the Teflon and bronze washers here. So now this one, this is one that I am just going to mod and put up on the website for sale. I really like the 8015. It's one of my favorites. I think it's an amazing knife. And so when I was picking stuff up, I just went ahead and grabbed this one. Just like I said, I really like it. And so what I'm going to do to this one, I am going to regrind the blade, give it a thinner profile. Right now, I don't remember what these are behind the edge, but like close to 30,000, something like that. We can find out real quick. So, yeah, 32. Where am I at here? So, yeah, 28, 29 thou behind the edge, something like that. So you can see we got a pretty good size secondary bevel there. But we're going to make this a cutting machine. We're going to get that thing down to, you know, somewhere between 10 and 15 thou. And so we're going to regrind that. I don't know yet if I'll do an acid wash. I don't know. We'll just see how it goes along. We're also going to do a little work on the scales. So, yeah, we'll see. Interesting. So they got a pretty heavy stone wash on the scales, or the liners there. But for right now, let's go ahead and get all of this in the bag, and we'll come back and do some work on the scales. But first up, we're going to do the blade work and regrind everything. Like I said, get it down to, you know, somewhere in that 12 to 15 thousandths range should be nice. And yeah, we'll give the 8015 the cutting performance that it deserves, because the 8015 is a fantastic knife. It's just the blade is way thicker than it needs to be, thicker behind the edge. Okay, next up. All right, so we got the 8015 light, the 8015. We've got the Liang Ma cuff and the Orion Solaris. Next up, we've got a Kaiser. Which one is this? Oh, so this one also going to go up on the website. This is the Mini Critical in 3V. This one is what they refer to as green micarta. It's actually more like gray. I actually like the way the micarta looks, so we'll probably leave the micarta. But I am going to do a flipper delete. We're going to put a hole in this blade, and I'm not sure yet if I'm going to do an acid wash. We'll see. We'll just see, see what I think when I'm doing it. Just don't know. Don't know if we'll have enough time, But one thing, I love the critical. I love the mini and the full size. One of my favorite knives is Matt Christensen design. It's fantastic. One thing that I dislike about the critical is how sharp the back of this backspacer is, right on the edge there. It's just a little ridiculous. So first things first, what we're gonna do here is we're gonna tune this blade up. So we're gonna get a hole cut in that blade, and get the flipper deleted, and then go from there. So like I said, this one's going to go up on the website for sale as well, so you guys will see that soon. And I'm going to try and video the process and how I do all these things. But next up, we've got, this is the Sheepdog full size, or the XL Sheepdog. Alright, so if you guys remember, a couple weeks ago, I put up a Sheepdog XL for sale, and I had reground the blade. I had done a flipper delete and put a hole in the blade. So we're getting the same treatment here. Now, I've actually got a couple of these in micarta, and one of them is already spoken for, so this one is being done for a customer, if you will, and then the other one is just going to go up for sale on the website. So on the standard one, or the original one, I did red micarta, reground the blade, and bronzed all the hardware, if I remember correctly, is what I did. And so I had multiple people hit me up wanting the same exact thing. So we are going to do that. So we're going to regrind the blade. Now on the first one, on the regrind, I got it like between 9 and 10 thousandths behind the edge, and just for aesthetic reasons, I deleted the plunge grind, and just, if you notice on this Sheepdog, the plunge is not really pronounced. It's a fairly minor plunge, and when I put the forward choil in there, so when I did the flipper delete, I put a forward choil, I just liked it better. I thought it looked cooler without the plunge. So we'll probably do that again, just for aesthetic reasons. But, to each their own. Everybody likes something a little different. The biggest deal here is that I like my knives to perform really well. So I want, really good cutting performance more than anything. To me, that's kind of the point of the knife, is to have good cutting performance. And of course, this standoff is being a little bastard. There we go. I'm just putting pressure on it with my thumb right there to keep the standoff from spinning. Get that hardware out of there. So we got the micarta got the liners, the pocket clip, and there's all the parts and pieces. So for right now, we're going to put everything in the box because I've got some blade work I got to get done first. So that's what we'll start with, and then we'll revisit everything else. So I'm just putting all this back in the box for right now. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got another Kaiser box here. And this, I'm pretty sure, yeah, another Sheepdog XL. This one's got a different plastic piece in the box. It's kind of interesting. The other one was just wide open with the knife in there. And this one is fit to the box. So, alright, so let's get this clip off of here first and foremost. And then we'll start pulling body screws. So, you know, doing the mod work is kind of therapeutic in a way. I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. You know, it's enjoyable to create something cool. And yeah, just take, you know, I like making my own stuff as well, but I also, okay, so we got one that's going to fight us again. I like, you know, taking a knife like this that's a really good knife and just making it that much better, you know? It's enjoyable. Okay. There we go. There's the stop pin. There's the standoff, blade, bearing, pivot, and then let's get this pivot collar out of here. Sometimes the pivot collars will fight you. We'll get it here in just a minute. Yeah, thing's ridiculous. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab onto this standoff. Now I'm not squeezing very hard. I don't want to mar it up at all. There we go. That screw was sticking hard in that damn micarta. Yeah, for whatever reason, that thing is really stuck in there. Ah, there it goes. Okay, and then let's get this pivot collar out. There we go. All right, so there's all of our parts and pieces for our Sheepdog XL. And we got 2 blades. Get the baggie. Alright, get this put back in here. So for the ones that I have the boxes for because they're brand new, we've got the 2 Kaiser Sheepdogs. All the parts are in the boxes. We've got the 8015 and the 8015 Lite. All the parts and pieces are in the box. We've got the Kaiser Mini Critical. All the parts are in the box. And then we've got the Solaris and the Liang Ma KUF. There you go. So we're going to be doing an acid wash on this blade. We're going to regrind both of these and make them good cutters. We're going to I don't know. I might do a little regrind on this. I don't know. I don't remember how well these were ground. 3V is incredibly tough. So, oh yeah, we'll probably do a little regrind on that. It's 25 thousandths behind the edge. We'll thin that out a little bit. And then probably do a flipper delete and a blade hole on that. So I'll show as much of that process as I can. And then we've got our cold steels over here, which we're going to change quite a bit. The KUF, we're going to change that one up as well. Oh, we were going to, I got to remove these thumb studs real quick. So let's do that. Hold on just 1 second. All right, so I had to go get a flat blade screwdriver to take these cold steel thumb studs out. But here's what we're going to do. I'm going to take a little microfiber cloth, and I'm using my Victorinox Spherodex, or I don't know, whatever they call this multi-tool here. And I'm just using the cloth so I don't scratch it up, and get a little bit of a decent grip on that guy. And let's see if we can break this loose. We might need to add a little heat. It just depends. Oh, no. That one came loose very easily. So that's wonderful. So there you go. There's the thumb stud. You can see it did have red thread locker on it. I don't know if you can see that or not very well, but there's just a tiny bit of red thread locker right at the very top of it. Okay, so there's the blade right there. And here is the thumb stud, and we're just going to screw it back together. I'm shocked that thing came apart so easy. It had a hell of a lot of thread locker on it. Alright, blade number 2. Can we get lucky twice? We'll see. Okay, get a decent hold on that, and I'm not squeezing real tight. Like I said, I'm not wanting to mar that up. Okay, got it. Nice. That's fantastic. Again, with the red thread locker, but apparently it's not very good because it did not. So you can see a little bit of red right there on the blade. All right. So both of those came out easily. Nice. That is fantastic. We'll get this screwed together here. Perfect. All right. So now we're ready to go down to the shop and get to grinding and drilling and cutting holes and doing all kinds of stuff. Now, a couple of these, like the Solaris blade, this one's just, real simple. We're going to mask off a few areas here and then acid etch it, and then it goes in the tumbler, and then we'll have to resharpen it when it's done. But other than that, the rest of these are getting, well, and the KUF blade, it's not getting a whole lot. We're just cutting the old Teletubby off there. And yeah, that is it for that one. But the rest of these are getting, new primary grinds, and then holes and different things. So yeah, be interesting. But like I said, I'll get as much of this on film as possible. Just due to the length of this, I may just go ahead and put this video out. You guys can see my teardown process of how I do things, and then we'll follow it up with the video. Maybe we'll just do this in 3 parts. We'll do the teardown, and then I'll do the actual work and show different aspects of that, and then we'll show the reassembly and the finished product of all these. So anyway, guys, hopefully you enjoyed that. Here's a teardown video of all this stuff, and now it's time to get my ass to work. I'm going.